no matter what it is, whether you're dirt poor, whether you're homeless even, or rich or wealthy, whatever it is, our lives sit on all of the necks of African American people. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that there's black people that have more money than some white people.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter.
Yep.
It
Yep.
doesn't change that dynamic. It doesn't change history, and it doesn't change what's going on right now.
I don't believe that capitalism was ever meant to be a lifestyle. I thought it was supposed to be an economic means of, you know, gaining wealth, not a lifestyle. Like, in other
Right.
words, money over humanity. And we've really taken it to that extent. Money over humanity, money over humans. I mean, it's terrifying. It keeps reminding me of those books like Logan's Run and like the Unwanteds and like all these books that talk about like apocalyptic like yeah. It's just I'm thinking like, are we're normalizing this shit, you know?
But like you said, I mean, it's become a lifestyle thing, and so as I was saying before, slavery built the country, and slavery built capitalism. So that inherent seed can't possibly build a moral system that actually like is stable. It's not stable.
Everything in society in America has a direct line back to racism. And
Yeah.
that's something I've noticed more and more and more over the last 10 years. And people
Mhm.
are like, huh, what? It always seems to come back to racism. And
Yeah.
that's why that's been my big focus. Um, it's unbelievable.
Hmm.
It's really unbelievable how much things haven't changed. And Trump's presidency has helped to, the supposed silver lining of this man's, this horrific excuse for a human being, um, is simply that if you're not, sleeping under some rock or something, or if you're just even alive on the planet with, an average or above IQ, you can't say you don't see what's happening. I mean, it is just so extremely obvious with communication technology. You can't pretend to not know. I mean, you can, but it's disingenuous. It's a lie. It's this racism and the sick money over human beings
Yeah.
is so obvious. It's and even people, if they're white and they care, I mean, we're not powerful enough to do something. But I think what really kills me when I see those videos is these people screaming in the faces of these police officers who are, doing their civic duty, are the same people who, when people dared to talk about Black Lives Mattering, they're the ones who come up with Blue Lives Matter. It's like, it's just like the depth of fundamental misunderstanding of the culture they live in and that we live in. I think that's the biggest kind of problem white people have, is we truly don't get what's happening around us. Maybe we're too enmeshed in it, or we just don't want to know. We're enjoying our privilege. I don't know, but
Yeah, you can tell in a lot, like everything in American culture is very like, I always talk about it's very parasitic. You have to even see, even within them doing Blue Lives Matter and whatever, like it's very parasitic.
yeah.
You immediately latched onto something, you parasited on it, and you created something of your own that really doesn't even have any sort of like merit to it. But
Blue
you just
lives have always mattered. Give me a break. It's like,
it's
it's ridiculous.
it's just blatant like ignoring stuff. Like it's willfully done. People are not like,
Yeah.
I believe there's people that are kind of like, I don't want to say dumb, but just like very like unaware of a lot of things intellectually, and so of course they're gonna always be like the space fillers, in these groups. But there's a lot of people that they're aware. I mean, once they see that black people are trying to do something to get out of this continued oppression,
Right.
the response
Really
is,
well, and try to.
yeah, they just try to nullify it. Like
And they're not
that's,
gonna have it. They are not just like the way we destroy communities that we're doing well.
yeah.
in Black Wall Street. We will not allow
Absolutely.
to succeed. We just won't allow it. It's
Right.
It's pretty, and I don't like to talk this way because it's really generalizations. But Bejtash, I don't blame any Black person for thinking that white people are evil. I really don't.
It's funny. I remember an episode where you talked about that. Like, I'm not always able to catch all your episodes, but I remember when I tried to, I caught the episode where you were talking about that, and
I wouldn't blame them.
I completely no, I don't. I don't blame them either. I actually,
even the people who write and say to me, it was just very rare, actually. It's very rare that I get a Black person or a different, a person who's non-white writing to me saying you're a big fake. Maybe like it's happened maybe twice in 15 years or something, just saying, oh, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
And it hurts for a second. And I think, you know what? I wouldn't either. I don't blame them. I really wouldn't blame them. It makes me sad because I want them to think, wow, at least there's one person who really is trying, or I want them to think something, but I'm like, I can't make them think what their lifetime of hell has been, I can't unthink it. But I think to myself, you know what? I'd feel the same way. We haven't earned it. We've earned the opposite.
We have earned the opposite.
I mean, 10 times over, 1,000 times over.
I've, a friend had asked me, I wouldn't want to say he's racist. I wouldn't want to say he's not racist, but he's white. And he, I was talking to him about some things, and I was sort of correcting him and some things that he was bringing to me, and I was kind of putting my own analysis on it. And he was like, well, you go so hard for Black people. And he's like, but you could easily go outside and get jumped and get beat up and go to the hospital or worse or whatever. He's like, and so your opinion wouldn't change about the situation? And I was like, no. Oh, well, BS, you're lying. And I'm like, well, no. I said, I'm not going to say that I'm a human. I would be upset. I would be in a bad mood if I was in pain, if I was, thought I killed or something like that. I mean, that's a normal reaction.
Right, but that's not how I think either. No.
That doesn't change.
Settling of one. I mean, every group has bad people in it. Give me a break.
Right. But also what he's not realizing when he's asking that question is that, white people tend to jump on this whole Black crime and Black on Black crime thing. And that is another issue.
If a white person did that to you when you walked out the door again, would you hate all white people?
But you see, it's different with Black people for them, but it's also different because it doesn't matter if I was in a bad mood. It didn't matter if I got scared. It didn't matter if, as a human, I just was upset at that individual for causing me physical pain in that moment. But it doesn't change the fact that that Black person is attacked me either because they hate white people, which they are 5,000% justified in doing, with no individual provocation at all, or they need money, or they need this, or they need that. The reason why anyone creates crime is for all the same reasons. And Black Americans have been completely locked out of the economy since Reconstruction.
Yep.
So you somehow are, blaming Black people for committing crime, but
we created inner city poverty. We created impoverished people who are Black. We did this. We being our government and the collective us. Yes. And when I say that to people, they're like, huh? we did it on purpose too.
Absolutely.
It was done purposefully, done systematically, done. We did this. We created it, and people go nuts when I say that.
They go nuts because they always feel like, oh, well, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. But see, that goes into the whole thing of
we don't even see ourselves as white. We're just,
it's the whole thing with, it's kind of related to why white people get so they have that reactionary or visceral response, because everyone takes things personally. I mean, if you're white,
about you. That's what I say. It's not about you, and they're like, what?
It's not. I mean, yes, we're white, and so we are complicit in everything that whiteness does to other people. Our lives are as nice as they are because people have been enslaved and people have died and people continue to be tortured and live through a nightmare every day. But we're not talking about individuals. It is
Right.
not.
When I say systemic racism, I really do mean systemic. And people, oh, they will fight me on that. You mean you think I'm racist? I'm like, I don't know you. I mean,
Right.
although they are correct in that I do believe implicit bias is the lowest form of racism, and absolutely all whites are racist. And
Absolutely.
and they're like, what about you? I'm like, yeah, including me. They're like, oh, because they think they got me. It's like, this is not a joke.
Right.
I'm better than you. Yes, I have implicit bias.
Right.
Yes, I am a racist person. It is not like it is. I'm a person who I want to examine it, and I'm willing to examine it, and that's what I do. But I was raised in this society just like everyone else,
Absolutely.
indoctrinated, and they just don't get it. Like, it's implicit bias is natural and normal for many, many things. But
It's always, yeah.
kind of don't be so afraid to do some introspection.
Yeah, people have to, one of these organizations I was involved with, they always said, you got to take yourself out of the center. If anyone started responding any particular type of way, or anyone like took something personal, they got to be like, hold on, take yourself out of the center. This is not about you. This is not about this. Nothing revolves around you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
It's so hard to, and I've said that at the end of so many, it's not about you. It's not about us. And people get so insulted. But all I'm trying to say is it's a system that we live in and participate. How we participate speaks to our own person. But we didn't create this. But we might not have built this or created it, but we live here and we have a choice to do nothing.
Right.
To uphold the system.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry, it's just a natural part of it. And people get nuts. It's not such an insult. It's just kind of a fact of, this is what I boil it down to this. Look, a microcosm, kind of like an example. Do you teach your kids, and a lot of people, I guess they don't, maybe do you teach your kids to walk by somebody being bullied or somebody, an injustice taking place? Just not over my dead body. I mean, obviously, if the person has a gun and they're like, I'm talking about, just your everyday injustices. They're making fun of somebody. They're bullying somebody. No, you don't exist in society all about you and completely detached from what is happening around you on so many levels for so many reasons. Well, I teach my kids that you might as well have done it yourself. And because if you're just going to sit there and watch or do nothing, yeah, sure, you didn't punch them, but you saw it and you didn't care and you walked by.
Yeah.
So that's a standard that's different, but it's the same thing about our fellow humans. When you really don't tell me you don't know that Black people are treated like shit in this country.
Yep.
It's just not true. So don't just sit and watch it. Do something.
Yeah, we live a lie, but there's also a lot of
right. We live a lie. That's the whole.
We live a lie, but there are a lot of people that are very, very clear about this, and they're very, very, very happy about it.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing. I can't take those kind of people. They scare me because that's like.
Well, you have to understand too that like when we talk about like bad cops or racist people or these like very extremes, like people tend to like, once again, one of the very manipulative narratives about those things is that those narratives always try to portray those types as being anomalous, as being some sort of a rogue or a bad apple.
Right. And
these bad cops and these very sadistic, evil white people.
Yeah, no,
they're not anomalous. This is what it is. The anomalies are you. The anomalies are people that, might even be like racist and they don't know it, but that's still kind of an anomaly because
they're open to learn, but they're like, oh, well, they're not so defensive. They're like, right, yeah.
The real reality is the evil, horrifying ones. That's what the system and that's what our culture really is. We have to stop
pretending that those are just one bad apple. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's who we are.
there's no such thing as a bad apple with this, because this, what we're speaking of, is a system.
Right,
The
right. Mm-hmm.
is the entirety of it, the system. That's why a lot of people, they get mad at me sometimes. I say these things. They're like, "Oh, you're overgeneralizing." I'm like, "Well, no, because those ones that are good or halfway there or whatever, those are the anomalies. We're talking about a system here, and this. It doesn't matter if not every white person is this. It doesn't matter if not all cops are this. It doesn't matter. There is no such thing as a good cop, because the narrative, the job of a cop is to be the right hand of white power.
Yeah,
Period.
yeah.
It
And
doesn't matter if they've gone their whole career and didn't kill anybody or whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that, they're the same as a person that kills people on a regular basis, but they're also the ones that are silent, that protect these people that do kill people, the racists that are
they might as well done it themselves if they're gonna.
It doesn't matter. We're talking about a system. This isn't about, oh, well, not all whoever's are bad. Well, the ones that are bad, that's the whole that's the whole system.
Right, and you know how you can tell? This is what I tell people. I do this exact same argument with the white folks that I work with. I say, do you know how you can tell that this is our culture? You can tell because we started doing it. And if it wasn't our culture, if enough white people gave a shit and joined, and not to be the leaders, not to be the heroes, but to just give a shit about our fellow humans, we wouldn't have this culture. Yet here we are. So that's how you know it's the dominant culture is absolutely racist as fuck.
100%.
It just is, and people don't get that. They're like, oh, they're good, but those are the anomalies. Those are the exactly. Because, and it's like one of my friends is constantly saying, I'm thrilled we have Trump, and she's a black lady, and I was like, I get what she's saying. I said, oh, the cognitive dissonance is all gone of who we think we are and who we really are. He is who we are. And people are like, oh, no, we're not. I'm like, no, we are, because he's still here. Sorry.